Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing another Walking Dead video for today. In this one, we're going to give our thoughts on Lauren Cohan confirming she will be returning to reprise her role as Maggie in Season 9. And spoiler warning as per usual, if you are not caught up for The Walking Dead, which is up to The Walking Dead Season 8 finale. So I'll put the link in the description so you guys can go ahead and check this one out. It's from skybound.com. They did an article about the topic, and Lauren Cohan has now confirmed that she will, in fact, be back for The Walking Dead Season 9. So she's going to be back. Now, that was to Entertainment Weekly, and you can click on the article yourself if you want to read through it. We'll just go through it briefly here. It says, Entertainment Weekly is reporting Lauren Cohan will officially be back for The Walking Dead's 9th season, which airs later this fall. Quote, it says, I'm going to be back, end quote. That's it. Cohan told Entertainment Weekly while promoting her new movie, Mile 22, at CinemaCon 2018 in Las Vegas. Personally, I'm not familiar with that one. I don't, Mile 22, I haven't heard of this one yet. And then it says, there's a lot more Maggie story to tell. Although her character, Maggie, was never in any real danger of being killed off, Cohan herself was battling contract disputes behind the scenes. Although the details of Cohan's contract haven't been made public, fans are already celebrating the news on social media. It's unclear how Cohan will balance The Walking Dead, which begins filming in a week, and Whiskey Cavalier, the ABC pilot she's signed on for as the lead. That begins filming later this year. Walking Dead executive producer and former showrunner Scott Gimple recently told The Hollywood Reporter that contract disputes aren't uncommon. These things do happen, Gimple told THR. We've had people do other shows and other gigantic movies that take America by storm. We're figuring it out with each other and trying to let people be able to do other things and stick around. I shan't even entertain the thought, and he won't. It says, however it plays out, we know that Maggie Rhee will return for The Walking Dead Season 9. As for what fans can expect after Maggie seemed to be planning a mutiny against Rick in the Season 8 finale, we're not allowed to tell you anything, but it's good, Cohan told Entertainment Weekly. And that one was sent through by Jay Morris as well as a slew, probably a couple dozen people. So thank you guys for messaging me to let me know that she had said that and that she has actually re-signed, and this is the first we've heard of it. So she got to kind of break the news that she's going to be back. She's going to be returning. There's a lot more story for Maggie to tell. So that's great. I'm happy to hear that because you really never know, when you go into these kinds of things. Of course, you would want to return, but you never know if someone's value goes up so high. Like you have Denai Guerrero, who of course is freaking in the Avengers now and shit. Like it's that's coming out, right? It's crazy, right? To think that you got Michonne and then she's in Black Panther and then she's in that's crazy. I mean, that's just nuts, right? To have some of them, get these kind of roles, or John Bernthal being the Punisher now, and just all these awesome roles for people that used to be on Walking Dead. So that's wicked cool to see, and we just never know with regards to certain characters, whether or not they're going to be back, how it's going to work, and what's going to happen. If you look at Heath, for example, he left, Corey Hawkins, I think is his name, he left to play 24 Legacy, a lead in that, and he hasn't come back yet. So we'll have to see if he does next year or not. But this is great news because you can never say 100%. You never know how negotiations are going to go, and I'm really happy to hear that they are, open to working with their cast members, with people on The Walking Dead, if they have other projects to do, if they have movies or they have other TV series that they're going to pilot or they're going to be leads for, at the very least, we can get them to, do whatever they can do in terms of the story. And with having the different locations, that must help a lot too, where you have, them not being in absolutely every episode. You might have the hilltop that's only in certain ones, or you might have, if she has another episode to shoot or something and they have to work around it, it might be a little tricky, but you can kind of just have her be in the background for a bit and then come back later. If you look at Jesus, he wasn't in like majority of the season, season 8. So there's a lot of characters like that you could do that with, and To be honest, because of the size of the larger world and everything, it fits almost in perfectly, and you don't even really notice it a lot of the time when there's certain people that aren't even around. Even certain episodes might not have Rick in them, and you may not even notice he's not really even there if it's a really good episode. So it depends. But it's great news, and happy to do videos like this with you guys, so we can kind of celebrate and give our thoughts on good news for The Walking Dead, because you guys know how news works, right? A lot of it is so negative. It's like, it's just what it is. You hear about all lawsuits and you hear about all this other stuff, and it's like, it's good to get some good news for a change, right? Just to get some real good news where it's like, yes, this crucial character to the series is going to return, it's going to work out, it's going to be okay, and we don't have to worry about her being killed off screen, child labor, or some crap like this that they have to do in order to kill her off. She's coming back for the season, and there's a lot more for her to do in the series, so that's great, because she is a very important character. And if you look at the way the season 8 finale sets it up, like, how could you have it go through without her coming back? If she leaves or something, she doesn't come back at all and doesn't re-sign at all, it's like it just messes up everything with the setup from the finale and all that. So write your comments below, guys. Let me know what you think about Lauren Cohan returning for The Walking Dead Season 9. Great news. Billie Jean says, Trev, I got one for Q&A. Do you think that both Maggie and Rick are being selfish when it comes to Negan's fate? Negan has affected so many people's lives, and I wonder what Ezekiel, Oceanside, and other members from the Sanctuary would want Negan's fate to be. Would love to hear your thoughts. And that's true. They are kind of being selfish in their own way. Of course, Maggie, since Glenn was just killed recently in terms of Walking Dead time, not in real world time. In real world time, it's been since season 7 premiere. So, not counting the summer, 2 years pretty much. It's not counting the break, I mean to say. But in terms of their time, it hasn't been that long in terms of zombie apocalypse timeline. I'd have to look at the actual dates to see in terms of the zombie apocalypse how long ago that was. But it was still fairly recent for our survivors. It was fairly recent, considering everything that's happened and all that war being kind of a whole season, but not taking up that much time in terms of the days, I wouldn't think. So crazy stuff. But yeah, you're right. She's being selfish in that way to want to kill Negan, I want to say, because of what he did to Glenn, which, you can definitely sympathize with that. If someone killed your spouse, with a baseball bat, and then laughed about it afterwards, and you have the opportunity to get him back, it's pretty difficult not to, right? It's pretty difficult to keep anybody away from, you doing that, right? So for her, I totally sympathize. With Rick, that's a good point, that he because he's doing that of his own accord and he's saying it's my decision, it's kind of like, you got a good point, Billie Jean, is that it's not really just his decision, right? Negan literally affected, all of those different groups in the zombie apocalypse. So hundreds of people, not quite thousands yet. We'll get there eventually to thousands of groups of survivors, but hundreds of people were affected by him. There was people that he killed. There was people that he punished. There was people that he ironed. He did all kinds of different stuff. So for him to decide for everybody that that's not what they're going to do, and they're going to do it kind of the old school way, it makes sense. It's fair, but again, if anyone's going to get the death penalty, and it brings in that whole question whether or not you should. You look at the states. Some states have the death penalty, some states don't. That's for sure a loaded topic, definitely. But I hear what you're saying, where he's just kind of making up the decision for himself, and I'm sure Maggie's sitting there saying that's not your decision to make, right? And they all put their lives on the line during all that war, not just Rick. They all did, right? So is what it is. Heather EMC says, hey, Trav, greetings from The Rock. I'm still super excited. Chris read my tweet on Talking Dead last night. It was one about Dory being a grandma who hands out candies. So she wanted to put that through. And that's cool that one of you guys got a question through on Talking Dead. Congratulations, Heather. That's wicked cool. I have a theory that the last episode of both shows will be the same, and that both groups will meet up together in the Commonwealth. Do you think this is plausible? Do you think the groups will end up together, even though AMC previously stated they wouldn't? So she's talking about Fear of the Walking Dead and The Walking Dead eventually doing a full merge-over type of scenario, where you have a group from the original Walking Dead series that goes to the Commonwealth or something like this, and the TV series version of the Commonwealth, includes Madison and her group of Morgan and the others. Man, that would be really cool if they ever did a huge crossover like that. It sounds to me like they probably heard all the fan theories about the Whisperers that we were discussing, and they probably thought okay, we don't have enough time to set up the Fear group as the Whisperers, but maybe, just maybe, we could start setting them up now with this stadium. We can start setting them up now with this this stuff, and eventually you could see that group become the Commonwealth, and then eventually they could do some kind of crossover between the groups. So I think that is, there's also Georgie in there too, so she's in there somewhere. So we'll have to see if Madison's group even. They certainly, in some ways, have some similarities to the Commonwealth, but the whole idea of them eventually at some point doing a full crossover where you have a storyline in The Walking Dead where they actually go and meet the Fear group, and I think that's the way it would go. I don't think you go the other way and you have the Fear the Walking Dead episodes where they go and meet Rick and the others. I think you have Rick and the group go and meet the Commonwealth if ever, or go and meet Madison and the other group if they're ever going to do that, with maybe Morgan being the liaison between, or them just mistakenly or haphazardly kind of running into each other at some point, via a radio communication or something they hear. That would be so cool. You could have like a Super Bowl or something like that for Walking Dead where you do both over. Is that why we're seeing Scott Gimple go to be the overarching manager of both? Is that why they're doing all this? Is that why they're doing the crossover with Morgan? Because really, we kind of saw Rick and Carol and Jesus crossover too, because they were in an episode of Fear. Even if it was still like a Walking Dead part, it was at the beginning of a Fear episode. So that's the first time we've seen anything like that happen. And I don't think we can rule out theories like this anymore. I think these are some good theories. And, a lot of times, like with what they did decide to do to crossover, how do we know that our input or fan theories didn't have something to do with that? Scott Gimple has said that he likes to sometimes read fan fiction and this kind of thing. So how do we know that, the ideas of those kind of things didn't come into play when they decided to do a Morgan crossover? How do we know that it had no effect on that? So I don't think we can rule it out right now, Heather. I think it's a good idea, and I think that's kind of, for Fear the Walking Dead fans, I think that would be the all-time kind of ultimate dream for Fear the Walking Dead fans, to see Rick meet Madison. It was cool to see Morgan. He's coming over now. That's awesome and all that. But to see the two leads of both series meet each other, even if it was just for a short episode or couple episode type of thing, a few episode story arc or something, that would still be wicked cool. And, I don't know if it's plausible. It'd be hard to pull off, so I'm going to side with probably not going to happen. But at the same time, if they could find a way to make that happen, that would be really cool for Walking Dead, and really give a good rub to Fear, because that's probably more than what Fear deserves, to be honest. So, but for AMC, stuff like that makes total sense, man. You're just propping up Fear. You're giving people more of a reason to watch it. And this week, 3 million viewers for Fear in the second episode of Season 4. So that's great. That's way up from the last season where it was trending near the end of the season. So it looks like the crossover somewhat worked, to get more people interested in it. Great idea for sure. Create Till Death says, it seemed like Maggie didn't just mean they would try to kill Negan, but that they were going to get Rick. Why the hell would Maggie and Daryl want to take out Rick? If that's the direction this goes, I'll be really disappointed. Keep up the great work, brother. So, yeah, that whole thing, too, and it's been topic of some discussion lately about the whole Civil War idea. Some people hate it right away. They throw it out right away. And I hear that. I absolutely hear that. I would just think, and the way I've always explained it, is that if Rick got in the middle, then, maybe accidentally they could hurt Rick without wanting to. But I think that she is just so, bloodthirsty to get Negan and kill him that she may get sloppy with that, and she may hurt others in the way. So that's what you got to watch out for, is that, you have this goal to kill Negan, I guess, and you don't want to, accidentally, as part of that, hurt the others that are involved. So she's mad at Rick, but, given some time, give it a time skip, I don't think she'll want to kill Rick. I think it's just that she wants to kill Negan, and she is mad at Rick right now because of what he did, and that it wasn't his decision to make. And you hear that, right? The selfish question we had earlier. Makes a lot of sense. Last one will be from Turan It Up. Says, they're building a windmill in Alexandria to last for 3 years. They asked the city council for that recently. And yeah, I've heard about that one too online. They are building a windmill for probably after the time skip, which is wicked cool. And, they're probably going to build lots of stuff. And so for some people who are wondering, why did All Out War last the whole season? I've been saying it in recent videos. This is probably why. You're going to do a time skip. You're going to have, to redesign all the sets and everything after the war. They, blew them up or blow them down and everything they did with them. So now they're going to have to revamp everything. and it's going to look a lot different, which is going to be really cool. Anyway, let's wrap it here for today, guys. Good news for today. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. Are you more excited for The Walking Dead Season 9 now that you know that Maggie's going to be back? How do you feel about it? What do you think? And if you like this video, please thumb it up below. You can share, you can favorite, and if you're new, you want to subscribe to the channel, I would appreciate it, and you can do it. You can subscribe at the bottom, as well as turn on the notifications by clicking the bell at the bottom. That's it for this one. I'll see you guys again soon for another video. As always, it's Trev, and I'm saying peace. Later, guys. See you soon.